Mint and Jaffa's orange grows. Microchips is us. iPhone cameras us. Taco salads us. Bodagabanos us. Olive Garden us. White phosphor us. Sabra Hamas. Hasbara sus.
Hey, what up, though? Welcome to Bad Hasbara,
the world's most moral podcast. How you doing, Matt? I'm Daniel Matze.
Hey, I'm Matt Lieb, and I will be your most moral co-host for this podcast next to Daniel
And
Monte.
so will I.
Yeah, we're both the most moral. There can be two mosts.
Tweedlemost and Tweedlemoster.
Yeah,
Moster is my mom's maiden name, actually. That was my grandparents on my
That
mom's
does
side.
sound like a Jewish name. Moster?
Yeah. We think that it was actually one of these situations where they arrived in Canada and someone asked, where are you from? Or what's your name? And they thought they were saying, where are you from? And they might have been from Mostar, Croatia.
Oh. It's so funny how they fucked that up so much at immigration offices.
times.
Like, most people's last names are just some racist, like, Irish guy going like, oh, okay, your name is Geronimo Italy. And it's like, Geronimo Italy? It's just everyone's name is just some place they're at. I think I only know this shit because I watched The Godfather, and the guy was just like, Corleone. That's not his name. His name was Vito Andolini.
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Now I've got Robert De Niro's voice. Andolini.
Andolini. E chi sto por ti? Ah, puta. I fucking love that scene.
That's when he kills the guy.
When he
And
kills
this is for you.
that guy who shot his brother Paolo and his father and his mother. Just a reminder, 5 stars in a review for the world's only Godfather podcast.
No two men in the podcast sphere dare talk. We've also talked about films that are just so outside the male podcast mainstream, such as Glengarry Glen Ross,
That's right.
Ghostbusters,
Mm-hmm.
The Wire, the television show The Wire. I mean,
Yeah.
What's next? We're going to do an episode on David Foster Wallace. I mean,
I would have to read Infinite Jest, but, I would do it for one podcast.
I read about half of it, which I think is about.
I tried listening on audiobook, and the motherfucker has like footnotes everywhere, and it's like,
footnotes to the footnotes.
Can you just make a normal book? You know what I mean? The only footnotes I read are wiki feet. Thank you, producer Adam. And no one else can see this, but Adam is cracking himself up.
Is he cracking up because he typoed his own footnote?
Oh, I missed the typo.
It
but
said
yes.
wiki feed.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Listen, my brain auto-filled WikiFeed. Just another reminder, if you want to know how to support this podcast, patreon.com/badhasbara. When you do that, not only will you be getting all these episodes early, but also you are going to be getting exclusive shit. Like, you're going to get exclusive episodes, Patreon-only episodes. Now, I know you're thinking, when? Soon, dog. Soon. We are at some point are gonna have the ability and the time to make multiple episodes a week. But for now, and that's happening soon. Very soon, you will start to see 2 episodes a week in your feed if you are a Patreon subscriber. But yeah.
And there'll be special events,
Yeah, special events, movies. We're going to talk about great Hasbara movies such as Schindler's List. No, great movies like Golda, the Golda Meir movie, the Raid on Entebbe movie with Charles Bronson. I mean,
Wonder Woman, 1984.
We're gonna be doing all sorts of different special events. So please,
the
Zohan. Yeah, we're gonna watch Zohan probably. So if you are someone who wants to help support the podcast, patreon.com/badhasbara. You can join for free, which means you'll just be getting updates on all the early episodes and bonus things.
Adam put a hilarious one-liner down there. It said patreon.com/badhasbara. Good one, dog. That was
so funny.
That was oh, wait a minute. No, sorry. That's just the link.
That's the link, dude. That's the actual link. So please click that, join, become a most moral patron. And finally, shout out to producer Adam Levin, of course, our main man, our number one bro, the best in the biz. And
if you're wondering what he looks like, go back and listen to go watch our last live stream.
Our last live stream. He's there.
He was our guest. You'll see him again sometime.
Yes. And finally, today's episode is brought to you by Palestine Red Crescent.
Yay.
Please join. Please donate. Go to PalestineRCS.org/en or just PalestineRCS.org and then click English. And please join.
When the Arabic text comes up on your screen, you scream at the computer, "I don't speak Arabic.
Yeah.
Speak English."
We speak English in
we
this country.
speak English in this country.
Start
We
clicking
believe
one.
science and
Yeah.
speak fucking English, and the website will gladly oblige you.
Yes, yeah. Just yell at the website, but
Just
please
be a dumb
donate.
American.
They're doing a lot of great work, and they're obviously under extreme pressure and a lot of danger. And they shouldn't be, because they are not an organization that does anything but help people survive. But as you know, there's a genocide happening, so that means doing a lot of murdering of aid workers by the Israeli government, and that's not good. So give them money, make sure that they're able to continue doing what they're doing, since literally no one else is. Anyways, what's the spin?
Well, the spin this week, first of all, I got a new microphone, which is one of the ways that, is it on camera? Can you see it? There it is.
There it is.
Look at that, baby, right? Look at that.
Yeah.
So, you guys subscribing on Patreon helps us afford better tech equipment, because we've
That's
had
right.
tech nightmares. So I've got Rage Against the Machine's Battle of Los Angeles, which has the song Mic Check on it. I'm trying to make my What's the Spin a little bit more, on point and topical.
Right.
Relevant,
Topical
not
to
just
what's
like,
happening.
hey, I like this record. Asia, Steely Dan turns 47 this week, or 46. It was released September 23rd, 1977. One of the greatest albums of all time.
Steely Dan.
Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation, 1814, came out 35 years ago last week. Incredible album, really holds up.
I'm watching Adam's face while you hold the album right in front of the mic, so everything's is a little slightly muffled. It's
what
totally
are you talking about? No.
Oh, was that the Chronic?
That was the Chronic, because we're going to be covering a story about the Chronicle.
Oh, yes, we are, later
Right.
in the episode.
And then I have another story-related album, Sailing the Seas of Cheese by Primus.
Boy. We'll get into that.
And we'll explain that in a second.
We'll explain
so
that.
That's the spin, ladies and gentlemen. And Adam, thank you for the helpful feedback. I will work on my technique, holding the albums over here while the mic is here. It's all new to me. Microphone check, 1 2 1 2.
We're getting it. We're getting there. And finally, I just want to bring up a great Daniel tweet. Daniel, you subtweeted this guy. What is his name? Like Ostrovsky?
Arsonist, Arson Ostrovsky, yeah. Ostrovsky, yeah.
Who is just
the arson ostrich.
This guy is like one of the worst guys on Twitter, because he'll say the most like just insanely genocidal thing that you've heard that day. And you'll be like, what's this guy's deal? And the first thing in his bio is human rights lawyer.
Yeah.
And I do not understand what Israelis think human rights are.
Right. It would be like someone posting like, wow, they sure are making kids sexier these days. And you go to their bio and it says, birthday party clown.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point, when he says human rights lawyer, he means like he's a defense attorney for genociders. That's got to be what it is.
Anytime people are credibly accused of human rights
violations,
he's on the scene.
Yeah, he's a real sicko. And he posted this today. I will always proudly and unapologetically stand up for Israel. And it's a picture of him, I guess, at the UN or at some, meeting of country minds.
With his eyebrows in full evil angle.
Yes, yeah, full on cartoonishly, like at an angle. He looks like if you asked a third grader, draw an angry guy, this is exactly how you draw him. Fingers
tented as a motherfucker.
And Daniel rightly points out
he's got a real Wojak-like face, actually.
Yeah, he does.
Like defense attorney Wojak.
Yes.
High-priced defense attorney Wojak.
And Daniel rightly points out, you're sitting down which when you say you're standing up for Israel, I feel like sitting down is probably, it's like asking to be dunked on. You know what I mean?
Sit down.
Yeah,
Be
dang.
humble.
That's right.
Sit down. That's a little bonus word.
Yeah, that's a little bit Kendrick Lamar. Anyways, that guy's
Laundry.
a psychopath. Today, let's bring in our guest.
Yay.
Because we have a great guest, a returning champion. Although this will be the first time that I've been on the podcast with him at the same time, because as was noted on the podcast, I was unable to be there the first time, and I fucked up. And
unable or unwilling?
Oh, I was very willing, but you know, I have my baby ruined my life that day, and then I also had this other thing that kept being pushed, and I had to. It was, anyways, excuses.
As I
fucked up.
As I said to you, as I said to Jacob on the day, I chose to believe you.
Yes. Well, thank you for your.
I didn't think you. I don't know how Jacob took it. Well,
Yeah.
we'll ask him. I don't
Yes.
think you were directly avoiding him. I'm just wondering if there was something like if
You
it
thought it was
was something a little less
more-
innocent than baby.
Oh no, yeah, no, it was interview with Al Jazeera, and then it was baby was sick, so I had to keep pushing that.
Okay.
But ladies and gentlemen, actor, content creator, activist, and New York Jew, Jacob Berger is in the house. Oh shit!
Yeah, you missed our interview last time. I'm gonna get you, motherfucker. I'm gonna get you. I ain't playing no game.
God.
Hold on, Michael Rappaport. How'd we get
I'm
him?
just playing
Oh,
around. I just had to set like you set me up for that bit, so I had to.
You had to do it.
I had to, you know.
Yeah, no, it was great. I like introducing any guest when they're this close to the camera and yelling. That was beautiful. I got to see your beautiful face. You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
You got a beard coming in. It looks nice.
You know, going that route. I don't like this gray though. That makes you feel really. I'm about to turn 40 soon, so
Yeah.
I don't like that stuff. Obviously,
Jacob-
Daniel knows what I'm talking about.
Jacob, take a good fucking look. Okay, this is.
I know.
I'm
looking in the
I'm
mirror.
turning 49 this Saturday,
Okay.
and
so
Wait.
this is what you have to look forward to.
49. You've got great skin, Daniel.
Thanks. Thank you.
Look at that. See, this whole time I was like, he could be anywhere between the age of, well, let's be honest, 42 and 45, and you're telling me, look at this. And now Jacob's got his hat off, and we're
I figure I don't want to, you know.
yeah.
With the flow, we have our nice curly Jewish hair to flow. You know, we might as well
Yeah.
just let it fly. You know, some of us more than others. You know, Daniel, but you know.
Yeah, listen, we all have these unfortunate genes that make it so that you know, my hair is curly, but I can't grow a fucking beard, and you can grow a beard, but you know,
Does your beard just grow in that?
it grows
And that
in like a
incredible,
guy
like,
like a Guy Fawkes mask. Yes, it does. I was born
Great.
to look like a fucking anonymous guy.
That's great. Well, thanks for having me be back on the show. I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you guys. A lot has gone on since I last.
Yeah.
A lot has gone on.
Yes.
So in terms of like a lot that's gone on, we've been talking over the last month, and you have you've actually left the United States at one point to go to the Middle East. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I was part of a humanitarian trip with a bunch of other influencers. They're all Muslim content creators from various parts of the world, you know, America, Europe, everywhere. And it's an organization called East Inspires, and we were raising money to help refugees from Gaza that are now living in Cairo. You know, there's like tens of thousands of refugees there. So
Yeah.
we find them with rental assistance, food, clothing, furnishing the home, medical, you know, just things to have some type of be humanized, have some type of existence
Right.
while they're in Cairo. So doing that work was very impactful. It really kind of opened my eyes even further. And like, you know, when you actually hear the stories from people about how they watched, you know, Israel kill their parent, or were in the building when it got blown up, like it changes. I don't know how to explain it. I can't go back to pretending to live this normal American existence at this point. Like, that's why I think my time is best served. I'm going back out there this week. And I'm gonna be out there for a few months just to sort of help continue to build the operation, hopefully inspire people, especially influencers, to do more for this cause.
Now, what's interesting to me about that is that like this is one of those like rare examples in which an influencer trip to the Middle East is done not for Israeli propaganda purposes, uh, which is kind of amazing because this is the one thing that I feel like Israel has had kind of uh, a stranglehold on is the
Right.
amount of money it takes to pay for people to go out there and like see for themselves. It's like a reverse birthright trip in a way where you get to actually see for yourselves the damage and chaos wrought by the Israeli government.
Well, that's what I realized quickly. Like, obviously, my primary purpose out on the trip was to help the refugees from Gaza, but quickly I realized the other portion, which is going to be a big portion of things moving forward, is me making content and showing the world that it's all bullshit. The stuff that we're pumped with in America and the Western world, that Muslim countries are scary, that they don't like
Right.
white people, they don't like Jews, they don't like American, whatever it may be.
Right.
I made
Yeah, the hostility coming towards you in those videos was just terrifying.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I would literally walk around with my Star of David out there. Like, I don't even do that here in New York. Like, walk around my Star of David out all the time. But I did it in Israel, in Egypt, just to prove a point to the Zionists. Like,
Right.
I was literally on TikTok live, like going up to people with my star, like, oh,
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, maybe alaikum salam, and we all chilling, we all
Yeah.
be Habibis. So a big part of what I'm doing is kind of helping break through that. Like you said, like I think you made a very good point about how Israel kind of had the stranglehold on showing the experience of like
Right.
So hopefully I inspire more people, Americans. I demystify the experience because things are pretty inexpensive in Egypt. Like you could cost
What?
it's very a bottle of water is like a nickel.
Oh,
So it's
shit.
very doable for me to just be out there considering I make my living from social media.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And TV and film, it's all self-tape, so I can just fly back if I need to book something.
Yeah.
I'm at a point now where I really want to spend as little time in America as possible. Like I'm just sick of the government, people's apathy towards Palestine. Like
Yeah.
I'm just sick of it. Like
hang in there, buddy. We got an election coming up. Everything's gonna change.
Yeah.
Either everything's gonna change or everything's gonna stay the same in like the most awesome way. That's gonna like make everything different.
Yeah, as Obama said, don't move, vote. So that'll help.
Yeah, I remember when I was so gutted. I remember because I was in social work school when he ran. I remember I was like, we're going to change the world. The progressive liberal that we've been waiting on. And then it was like, oh, okay, you're more of like a center right president, so I've given, I talk about this a lot now. Like, I don't feel like the governments are going to save Palestine or save the American people. We need like a people's revolution at this point. Like people need to start caring about one another. We need to wake up. We need to be boycotting. The boycotts are working. As you know, there's a piece of legislation going through Congress right now that's trying to make it so they don't have to list if a product's made from Israel. It's like an anti-BDS legislation. So that shows you right there that it's working. Like, and that's all they respect is money. Ironically, because we're Jews, like,
let's just be very careful what the word "they" is referring to there, Jacob.
Yes.
We got to be very careful what you were using the pronoun "they" for.
We're all
mishpuch here. We can talk about "they." And we know what we mean. Rothschild. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it is amazing, and it's funny just bringing up the idea of the way in which electoral politics will save us is very funny now because it's so ubiquitous that at this point we're just like, which genocidaire do you want to vote for? That even like even pop stars are like fuck all this, and specifically Chapel Roan. Do you guys know Chapel Roan?
Yeah, she sort of opted out from endorsing anyone.
Yeah, she did. So Chapel Roan is like a American or I don't know if she's American, but just a singer songwriter,
Midwestern, I think.
Yeah, and has what's her big song?
Hot to Go.
Hot to Go.
HOTTO.
Well, be careful. Yeah. We're gonna get copyright struck.
Let me change the letters. QBXYTR. Pink Pony Club. What's that?
No, I don't know. I don't know what you were changing it to. But recently, one of the multiple accounts on Twitter that covers pop bullshit pointed out right here, Chapel Roan on why she hasn't endorsed Kamala Harris. I have so many issues with our government in every way. There are so many things that I would want to change, so I don't feel pressured to endorse someone. There's problems on both sides, and it's funny because people, of course, were like, "Wow, I guess you don't care about," and then XYZ issue, and all I can think is like, at this point, how are you not ashamed of yourself to say shit like that? Like what exactly would make you not vote for someone? You know, if it's not genocide, I really don't know
Right.
what else is left after genocide to be like, oh, I'm not voting for someone who's going to continue to genocide
Yeah, well, this person's gonna genocide less than this other person. Like, you know, like what the hell are we even talking about here? Like,
Oh, guys, but I heard something incredibly and incredible and really moving and inspiring today. Joe Biden apparently
I haven't heard from him in a long time.
has been I don't have the tweet in front of me,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, working tirelessly for a ceasefire, as AOC said, and apparently he was on a call really getting peeved with some aides who were, dragging their feet and, doing the thing that the commander did with
where's my early bird special?
Vader at the
Is that what
beginning
he was
of
mad
Return of the Jedi. The Emperor is not as patient as I am, and Joe Biden said, "Fucking get it done," or something like that. Just fucking get it done. Like he swore.
Get what done?
As my a ceasefire. And so, as my brother said, it's great that he's dropping the F-bomb, while sending all the other letter bombs to drop on the Palestinians.
The only way we get a ceasefire is if America stops sending money and weapons to Israel. That's the only way a ceasefire happens. Like
literally the only way.
And that could literally happen tomorrow if they decided to. Obviously, we know they're not going to.
Of course.
But that literally could stop. Like, that's why I always talk about like concrete things. Like, obviously, a lot of people like to get into the minutia of like, oh, well, what will happen when they're in their own country, one state, two state, this, that, and a third. Like,
yes,
we're not even that. You're thinking so far down the road right now. Like, the things we could do right now: stop America sending money and weapons, telling them no more.
Yeah.
Kicking all the settlers out of the West Bank, and right of return for all Palestinians from all over the world. Those three things are things that we could actually move into motion tomorrow if we wanted to.
Right. If
all the other stuff has to be worked out, but those three things are what we should be pushing,
Yeah, it is. It's crazy the amount of like future tripping people do when it comes to the Palestinians, where they're just like, whoa, we can't take this boot off their neck until we like figure out like what they're gonna do with all that freedom. And it's just like, are you not disgusted with yourself? There's just so many things. I mean, the people who want to vote Kamala, but it's like it's the idea of chastising anybody for not using their platform to vote for Kamala. I'm just like, how are you not embarrassed, bro?
Yeah.
That's like, I'm embarrassed for you. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, and especially if you want to claim, hey man, there is an issue out here that should trump any, third-party instincts you have, and it's, banning drag shows, or it's this or this that.
Right.
Well, if that's fair game, then I'm sorry, genocide's pretty up in that deck. Like
it is.
If you wanna say that there's a trump card, no pun intended, in terms of issues that should be non-starters and red lines,
right?
Then you don't get to hold it over people who are saying, yeah, genocide's that issue for me.
Yeah.
With my tax dollars.
And I can't imagine for you, Jacob, actually like going there and seeing, all of these refugees from Gaza, and seeing firsthand like what happens to these people who we, in the West consider disposable, consider like just pawns to be moved off the board, at the whim of Israel. Like, you were saying it was eye-opening for you to the point of which you're like, I don't even know if I can live in this country anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be, it's got to be transformative. It really is reverse birthright.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such to experience the Muslim world for the first time, and to just like see so much bullshit that we were indoctrinated with ever since, especially like we're the children of 9/11, like the millennials, like and just all of the stuff that we were taught, and it's totally not the case. as far as how we're received in the Muslim world. Like, people show me nothing but love out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when you meet people from Gaza and like you see how resilient they are, but like, you know, a lot of them they want to be back in Gaza, like, but it's just they're under these horrible circumstances, and
Right.
no one else is out there to help them except the charity organizations. Like, that's why we need to be out there. Like, money goes a long way out there, and we need to have just do something, because it's just never enough. It's just never enough. And
Yeah.
you know, people need to do more, because it's honestly, I can't continue living in this like Hunger Games dystopian society where it's like I'm watching some random video about some whatever bullshit thing, and the next video is kids with their heads split open, and then, you know, this isn't what the world's supposed to be like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. We're supposed to, I mean, yeah, you know, in your head, you're just like, I thought we were supposed to care about people no matter what they're from or where they're from or what their religion is, and it's just like seeing that, you know, illusion so quickly, you know,
Yeah, and it just
penetrated
makes
is,
you, like, you know, really appreciate the things you have in America. Like, even on your worst day in America, you're better off than most people around the world. Like
yeah,
it just makes you take inventory. And ever since I gotten back, since I've had time to process it, because it was a very traumatic experience to experience that firsthand, going to people's homes, hearing their stories. You know, now I have this like weird sense of like calm, like where I just
yeah,
feel like I know what I'm doing is right. I'm on this path. No matter whatever happens, happens. And like I just
Yeah.
know that like I'm doing what's right, and I'm inspiring a lot of people. You know, Jews who message me and tell me that my being outspoken and my content gives them confidence to be pro-Palestinian as well, when a lot of their family are Zionists, as you guys are probably well aware of that
oh yeah, oh
in our
yeah,
community. But then I also get messages from Muslim people that tell me, Jacob, you show me that not all Jews are like Zionists. That, like, you know, I knew that, but like to see it so strongly from someone like yourself, like it really does make a difference. And you
yeah,
know, the content is so important, because I speak to people in Gaza every week, and I've spoken to people that I've met, you know, that are in Cairo, and they tell me like, Jacob, like we watch like your content, like at a time when we feel like the world has left us behind, like seeing like you guys, the rallies and the content, and you guys continuing to talk about Gaza and West Bank and Palestine, it does give us some semblance of hope. And like that's why like social media is like changed the game. Like this is
yeah,
a major turning point in history.
yeah.
So
A-
yeah.
I
And,
really resonate with what you said about
mhm,
just, you know, on our worst day here, we can't imagine what's going on constantly, and has been our entire lives all over the world in a whole lot of different places. 3 years ago, a couple of days ago, so yeah, 3 years ago this week, I was released from a Mexican prison. I had been there for 3.5 weeks. I got COVID in there. I'd overstayed a tourist visa.
yeah,
But this is
And
real. This isn't a bit.
no, this is not a bit. This is real.
Oh,
In fact, it was written up in Mexico News Daily.
mm,
Um, and I didn't have it nearly as bad as most of the 600 guys in there. I was the only North American there. Everyone else was from the global south. But I got a little taste, just a little taste of the kind of precarity and lack of options that people are dealing with when they are trying to escape. I mean, these people were there because they were trying to escape the consequences of U.S. empire and trying
right,
to get to the U.S. empire, and now they're being incarcerated by the U.S. empire's little lackey, you know,
mhm.
in Mexico. And I remember telling myself as I was like being driven from the jail to the airport to be deported, I'm gonna so easily forget this, because I have the luxury and the privilege of forgetting this, because my
right,
life at home has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I've tried to, you know, kind of meditate on that when I can. But what you're
mm,
doing, but ultimately I was right, because privilege and luxury
Yeah.
and living in the imperial core, it's a very, very warm bath that we
Yeah.
can all soak
It's a
into, you know,
privilege. Yeah.
and what you're doing by taking yourself out of that, because to you the privilege has become so disgusting given what you know, and because you're a big heart, like you can't just harbor that contradiction anymore. You're going and putting yourself there and talking to actual people, and that's just, and you're doing that work and helping a lot of us stay plugged into some sense of humanity. So I really
yeah.
appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, one of the things that I love that you do is make fun of, I think in America we do this thing where, because we live at the imperial core, we have no sense of scale. We have no way of like we can't even imagine comparing our own like personal day-to-day issues with someone who's going through an active genocide. So we just kind of we pretend like, well, everyone has their own issues that they're dealing with. Some people are dealing with genocide, other people's are dealing with a massive cheese addiction. And what I love about what you do is you kind of take the piss out of the Hasbara from at least some of the New York contingent of the
Yeah.
rich psychopathic people who are Zionists, who are just they're too afraid to walk the streets.
They're
as
very
Jews.
very hard done by.
It's so preposterous. It's the constant self-victimization complex they have. Like oh, anti-Semitism is up like 300%, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, is that because someone walked by a protest and they said like "fuck Israel" or something? Like, is that,
Right.
like that's probably what counts as the crime. Like,
Yes.
as far as I see it, when we have protests, the Zionists are the ones who come and try and inflict violence on us.
Every time.
We're never them and the cops.
Every time. Yeah, and the cops as well. But yeah, the first video I think I ever saw you do was this one, in which you are someone an influencer out of New York is asking how, as a Jew, she can even feel safe to walk the street, and you did this video. I'm going to play it for everyone.
Oh, okay, great.
As a Jew in the world, how am I supposed to walk the street?
Hey everybody, New York Jew here, and today I'm going to teach you how to walk the streets of New York, okay? Because, you know, some of you might not be feeling safe. So what you got to do, in case you forgot, you take your right leg and you walk forward like that, then you take your left leg and move like that. And then we're walking. Here, walk with me, walk with me. Let's go try this out.
I didn't say I'm walking here.
Oh yeah.
Everyone was like, "How did you not say I'm walking here?"
Yeah.
It dawned on me. So afterwards, I totally missed a taxi driver reference.
Yeah, a classic New Yorkism.
Yeah. All right.
And
Go on.
as you can see, I'm walking around just fine, all right? I'm around tons of Palestinian people, and clearly as a Jew, so it's all love here. It's all peace and love. What up, baby? What's going on? Assalamu alaikum, man. You doing a video right now? Yeah, doing a video. Yeah, just showing them that's all love out here. That, you know, there's always love for Jews and Palestinians. We don't mess with Zionists. It's a big difference. You want to get some shawarma? Hell yeah, let's do it, baby. Free Palestine all day.
I
Jacob,
love
you've given me confidence. Next Sunday is the Atlantic Antic down on Atlantic Avenue, big Arab strip of
awesome.
restaurants
Yeah,
and
go check it
stores, you know,
out.
Sahadi's and Damascus Market and all that.
Yeah.
Are you going to be in town?
No, I'm leaving on Saturday.
You're leaving on Saturday. Okay, well, I'll go in your stead, and I will try that. It was right leg first, right, and then
I'll talk to
left leg.
Hezbollah and Hamas to make sure you get a good green
Yeah.
light pass, You know, I'll
You
talk
got to
to
be
them.
safe out there.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
I'll just hold up a sign with your, like, I'll make a cutout of your face. I'll pretend to be you.
So yeah, that video, like, because I was making content for the movement that was had a serious tone for the first few months, but then after a while, especially when the encampment started, this whole like, they were just being so ridiculous. I was like, I need to satirize this, like, and people really responded to it, like, you know, and unfortunately, like, people listen to us as American Jews more when we speak out about Palestine than Palestinians themselves. So like, you know, I need to hold that mirror to people and show them, you know, we know our people. Like, we know, even if they're Zionists, we know how our people think and stuff, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's like you do a great job of, like you said before, kind of like demystifying the Middle East, Arabs, and just like not even just Arabs, you know, like in New York, but like in general. I mean, you going to Egypt and whatnot, but it's so funny. I love that video because there's just they're the only people who are sitting there being mad at that video have to already be racist, because the idea is that they're going to look at that and they're going to go, oh, well, yeah, you know, well, if I did that, then I certainly would be killed. And it's like, why do you think that? There's no reason. There's no good reason to think that, other than, well, I believe that Arabs are anti-Semitic monsters who are out here just to murder Jews.
And they wouldn't get killed. They'd get, you know, the gas face, to quote, third base. The sort of they'd get a strange look. They'd get attitude. What you do, Jacob, is you bring such weapons grade levels of friendliness and cheerfulness and conviviality. Like Habibi is your
Yeah, I'm basically part
everyone's your
Arabi now.
Habibi.
I'm basically part Arabi now, like, is how everyone jokes.
I loved your video where you were like that feeling when you realize you're not
with
the Arab's
Macklemore,
favorite white guy in the room, and you
with
panned to Macklemore on stage.
Yeah, and I'm just like hating on him. I'm like, fuck this guy. Like, like I'm supposed to be number one. Like, I met him though. He was cool. He followed me back on Instagram.
Oh,
so
nice.
Good. Still very cool.
He released a sequel to Hins Hall this week.
Yes,
that was quite
I got to
good. He was even more plain
beforehand.
spoken this time.
Dude.
Yeah. No, he gave a very passionate speech that evening at the gala as he accepted an award, and voices like it. Like media is so important in the revolution. Like, there's what's the name of the female director? Like a few weeks ago, she gave an acceptance speech.
Over at the Venice Film Festival. I forget her name. But
Jewish American.
She was very Jonathan Glazer-esque, but like she's basically saying like we as like people in the media, in this medium, like we have our duty to like use our platforms to speak out, and like I just really liked her message and stuff.
Well, that's another thing that Zionists have understood for a long time. And when I met Noura Erakat a week and a day ago, and I was mentioning the show to her, and she said she was a fan. She said, "Yeah, we have to do propaganda too. Like propaganda is not a bad thing. This is an information war,
right?
And we are doing. This is a Hasbara counteroffensive.
Wait, are you saying we're doing Hamas propaganda?
We're doing.
Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
No, I am not.
Well, you should hear some of the conspirasi theories. Like, I'm very busy on TikTok.
I can't imagine. Like, what are they saying about you? They must be like, first of all, you're a secret Iranian agent.
No, they say. Well, there's one running group of people that believe that I'm actually Catholic. I'm Italian Catholic. And
I love that.
And I just
based on what? They're just doing it based on like racial physiognomy they learned
from. There's a guy
from
who says he was my Uber driver 6 years ago, and I confided in him like the truth about myself.
You whispered in his ear, "I'm a secret Italian."
It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre, bro. Other ones are just like they just say the worst things. Like they really do. They're really gullible and just dumb.
I love the idea that you're a secret Italian.
What would you be? Irish Catholic or Italian Catholic?
From the Dolezal region of Italy? Yeah, you're Rachel Dolezania.
Yeah, no, it's really because they want to destroy me. Like at the end of the day, because I'm very active on the TikTok panels. Like there's people who host chat rooms and we have discussions. But I don't really be having patience for the Zios when they bring them up on the panels. I kind of just talk over them and tell them like go fuck themselves. And, like,
sure.
And like, because I'm like I don't want to hear their lies. Like if this is World War II, would Jews be bringing Nazis up on their TikTok panels to have a discussion if what they're doing is genocide? No, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm tired of like people acting nice to these people. Like fuck these Zionists. Like they're literally genocidal maniacs. Like we need to stop. Like with all like sometimes people would be polite and stuff, and I get that there's like decorum and all that, but like this is literal Nazi shit. Like I'm not being facetious here. Like I don't know what else to do. Like to make
what else can you call it? I mean, you see the type of shit that's like written by, and it doesn't even need to be like media figures, right? It doesn't even need to like obviously you hear the shit that Israeli officials are saying, and there's tons of video footage of them just being like, they are human animals. We need to destroy them. But then just like a random, accountant on Twitter will say just the most insane thing that you've ever seen. For example, there was a guy named Steven Eisman in a recently deleted tweet. He was quote tweeting someone who was saying the screams of Palestinians in Gaza being burnt alive by Israel. It was a video posted by Mohammed Safa. A Holocaust is happening right before our very eyes, and the world is silent.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And he wrote, you must be kidding. We are not silent. We are celebrating. Which is, I mean, fucking, that is just Nazi shit. That is only something a Nazi.
Who's this guy?
He's a random dude. This is literally just some guy.
Oh, okay.
And he recently he nuked his whole account. First he wrote an apology tweet where he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know this was I thought this was about Lebanon or something," which as if that would make it better. And it's just like you see the just the genocidal thinking involved.
Oh yeah, the new thing they do on the internet, they go beep beep, like talking about the Lebanon page, like that's
Right.
that's a comment, like, oh, did you get your pager yet? Da, da, da. Like literally celebrating a terrorist attack that they did on Lebanon. Like
It's crazy. It's crazy. But like beyond the
I'm just
kind
waiting for one of them to drop a very, very bad parody of Hotline Bling.
yeah, well, maybe Drake will. He needs to get his career back after all the Kendrick beef. But I want to stick with this lady who you were making fun of in your video, Jacob, who recently did another podcast in which she is just kind of repeating the same, like the humiliation of just being a Jewish person. So here's a video of same woman from the previous
all right,
and this is her in an interview with Shai Davidai, of course, talking about her experience at NYU as an open and proud Zionist.
Everywhere I went, I was the Zionist. I'd walk into a room and like the Regina George Mean Girls moment where everyone's whispering and they go, "That's the Zionist." Yeah. So I had that moment every time I walked into.
Oh, that guy! I hate that guy.
Yeah,
I hate that guy.
Shai Davidai,
insufferable.
who's someone
insufferable. Yeah, from Colombia, right?
Yes, from Colombia.
Why does he look emaciated? Like he looks like he has a purple, like his eyes like are sunken in, like he's on heroin or something.
I mean, no, the dude has got a constant case of pink eye going. I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, he got his
spitting
face
all that
up
shit.
in Israel's ass.
Yeah.
Time I walked into a classroom, it got to the point that my classmates in my Arabic class wouldn't partner with me for final projects. My professors themselves said that it might be better if I stopped coming to class, and I was grateful to them. I said, "Wow, they're so kind. They're so kind that they're allowing."
And I was grateful to them because I realized I hate this fucking language. Why am I learning it?
Yeah. If you asked her, 100% she would say, "Oh, I'm learning this because know your enemy." 100%. Yeah. Like there's no chance that she's not learning it because because it's literally because I want to know what people are saying about me behind my back. Just fucking paranoid ass white lady shit.
Absolutely insufferable.
Yeah.
Allowing me not to come into class because I'm being harassed. Insanity.
So
insanity. They actually arranged for me to take my final exams in a separate room, and there was an uninvolved girl, sweet, random uninvolved.
What's her race?
Black girl.
Oh, okay.
Who decided to partner with me for a project. She started feeling so uncomfortable in the class that she actually asked to take her final exams with me instead of the rest of the class.
And you know what, Shai? Black people know something about being marginalized.
Yes.
You know?
It's 100%.
So she could relate to me.
It's this like fucking white lady Karen shit that a lot of Zionists are doing, in which they are just they can't help but compare themselves to like being a victim of anti-blackness in America. They just can't help it.
There's people that literally they say that we're like people like us, they don't consider, they think that we're not white. Like they're like, I'm not white, I'm Jewish. Like I'm like, what? Well, you're an Ashkenazi Jew. You're white. What
I'm sorry, but the only people who are like Jews aren't white are either Nazis or Zionists. These are the only people who will say shit like that.
Well, to be clear, Ashkenazi Jews, as Jacob said,
right?
Because there are plenty of Jews who are not white.
No, of course there are. They're Jews of all from all ethnic backgrounds, but just it's so funny to look at like this panel of people and be like, look at these BIPOC people. like all three of us haven't like been white our entire lives unless it was convenient to not be white. I mean, that's peak liberal brain.
And also, like as American Jews, we're very much assimilated. Like, so we benefit from white, even if we don't identify as white. Like I mean, obviously, we benefit from white privilege all the same. Like, you know,
Right. And when there's no material difference between identification as white or being identified as white and being quote white, whatever the fuck, because whiteness is made up. But it's like the consequences of whiteness are not. The consequences of whiteness in a white supremacist society are you get all the benefits.
I'd say Daniel looks the most Jewish out of the three of us, though.
Oh yeah, out of the three of us, he's the most.
I feel like Goebbels would have made that cartoon, like
exactly
a caricature of him, like
yeah. I look at Daniel and I'm like, I want to measure that skull.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's going on with that skull? I look at your physiognomy and I want to draw you weird.
I was hoping you want to measure something else.
Oh, measure your dick
hey,
too. But,
no Diddy, no Diddy.
No Diddy.
I heard that Yahoo was at the Diddy party. You guys heard about that?
Shit, we can do this every weekend.
Yeah,
he was at the freak off. Netanyahu at the freak off.
I think we gotta start that rumor right now. And then pull him into the investigation.
Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, fucking. So this woman. Yeah, I think we've covered this on this podcast again, but I have to do it one more time.
This is new to me, so I'm glad to cover it. Yeah.
This woman, who Jacob, you were making fun of, and who Shai David I interviewed, is complaining that as soon as I walk in, everyone's like, "Oh, there's the Zionist." I'm not sure that's the case. They might be looking at her and going, "Oh, there's the woman who, according to the New York Post, no, even more so, is someone who had to go to rehab for a cheese addiction." So I have a story I'm going to read for you guys.
Wait, she went to rehab for a cheese addiction?
Yes, she did.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
So time to read a little bit of this article right here. NYU law student spent over $10,000 on rehab for an addiction to cheese.
Do you know how much cheese she could have gotten for that $10,000? What a waste.
Yeah, I once overdosed on PC Brie. Very good, Adam. All right, cheese is a wonderful thing unless you're lactose intolerant, but like anything else, it should be enjoyed in moderation. Adela Kojab, a 27-year-old NYU law student, reportedly spent $10,000 in a 2-week rehab after developing an addiction to cheese while in school. Yes, you read that correctly. Here we go. Kojab
I like the V8 Energy Sparkling Strawberry Kiwi Juice Energy Drink ad in the middle of this.
Listen, I'm not gonna fucking edit these fucking clips.
No, but it's perfect. It's like, do you have a cheese addiction?
Yeah,
maybe you're not getting enough vegetables.
Kojab told Jonathan Levine and Matthew Sadaka of the New York Post that she would eat an estimated 5.5 blocks of cheese per week.
I love that the New York Post assigned 2 gumshoe journalists. To this story, So
they needed to get deeper into this. And some Parm crisps on the side as well, as one does. You might be asking yourself, how does that even happen? Good question. One that this author also had. We'll tell you. Quote, I stopped by either Morton Williams or by Whole Foods, and I would just buy cheese. And I would literally just eat a block of cheese with my hands. But why? Sure, cheese is delicious, but that's next level commitment to cheese love. Quote, it was the only thing that would make me feel somewhat whole, she said. I kept telling myself it was actually cheaper to just buy some blocks of cheese than to get a $12 salad. I was telling myself that I was making an economic decision as people with addictions rationalize.
I've never heard anyone with an addiction rationalize that they're doing it to save money.
Yeah, no, there's not been a single person in the world of being an addict who's just like, I gotta be more thrifty with my fucking heroin choices.
Well, there's plenty of people who will figure out ways of being more economical within the addiction, but the addiction itself is never justified on the grounds of...
It's clear that she's an attention seeker. Like, how did the Post get about this article? I can guarantee you she contacted them about
100%.
Like, this is not just like you randomly... Especially because there's HIPAA laws and things like that. Like, you wouldn't, a medical facility would not be giving that information out. So that's 100%. She did to try it. So that's why there's a lot of grifters, people that you're using it to, get a name for themselves. Like, clearly she's one of them.
It's crazy though. For at one point, her into making a name for herself was to be the girl who was addicted to cheese. That is just like, it's it's weird on a level that I don't even fully understand why she would want the story out there, but she apparently
Well,
did.
on a certain level, all Zionists are addicted to cheese of a certain sort.
That's
I
true.
mean, Zionism is kitsch.
Yeah, if you think about it. But yeah, just to move on. So how'd she fix this addiction? She attended a 2-week wellness retreat at Hilton Hilton Head Health in South Carolina. The retreat cost a minimum of $5,820 a week. Quote, instructors and counselors taught her the basics of how to order and prepare healthy meals, count calories, and consider healthier snacks like blueberries or popcorn in lieu of Havarti. And finally, she dropped nearly 50 pounds with a change of diet and a prescription to Ozempic. But yeah, I'm sorry, but like just if you are known as the cheese girl, like being a Zionist in New York at NYU, you're like, that's not a like,
Right.
there's a lot of Zionists at NYU. I mean, it's not weird. Being the person who was addicted to cheese and had to spend $10,000 to get off of cheese, that's something your classmates are gonna remember you for, you know?
Alon Levy's like, we need to get this girl on the phone.
Yeah, she
We
needs to
need
be
the
a
cheese girl. We need the cheese girl.
yeah, new citizen spokesperson, cheese lady.
Nah, their propaganda that they do is so bad. Like the content they do is just so bad. Like
Oh yeah,
I was just speaking like objectively speaking from a creator standpoint. Like when I
sure.
watch how they do content, like a lot of time, and if it's like they do some type of comedy thing, it's always punching down. It's never like
Yeah,
clever. It's like literally making fun of like victims and things like
yes,
that. You know.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
when I do my content, I try and make it clever and witty, like where there's a message behind it. Like
Right,
a lot of
and
them are just
and
like,
you're not making fun of people who are the actual victims of crimes and being like, and while also being the perpetrator. Like that's the thing
Right.
about Israel, and we've said this a few times, but like Israel doesn't know what gallows humor is. They think that gallows humor is just when you are the hangman and you make a joke.
You do
You
a
know,
stand-up set before you
literally
pull
murder
the
an
lever.
entire family.
The other thing you do, Jacob, is you make fun of yourself, which is a very diaspora Jewish
I
tradition.
mean,
And Israel can't.
self-deprecation is in our blood as Jews. We have
Yeah.
to be self-deprecating. We all hate ourselves. We're all neurotic. You know?
Right.
Which is why when we try to escape that by self-glorification and
Congratulations.
self-congratulation, it's just so distasteful. It's like bad blue and white cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hopefully she finds peace.
Yeah, a piece of cheese at the end
Piece
of
of
a
cheese,
mousetrap.
Yes.
We need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to do a little update about what's going on in Lebanon, and then we're going to get into this Jewish Chronicle story because Jewish Chronicle apparently had been employing and letting a complete fabulist write a bunch of articles that ended up being fake. And it's just fantastic. It couldn't happen to a worse bunch of people. So stick around. We'll be right back. And we're back. Welcome back to Bad Hasbara, the world's most moral podcast. We're here with Jacob Berger. How you doing? We all had a good break. We all
Hey.
fucking. You guys are both Jews from not from LA.
Yeah, New York City Jews.
Daniel lives in New York now, but he's a Vancouver Jew? Which Jew are
Vancouver
you?
Jew, yeah.
But he looks New York City Jew to me.
I've always identified it as a New York City Jew.
You look
Yeah.
very much like out of the Upper West Side. You'd have an apartment on 79th in Amsterdam. You know,
Yeah.
Fuck.
go to
fuck
Zay
off.
bars. You know,
Brooklyn. Brooklyn, baby.
I don't know shit about
Nagels Bagels.
Listen, I went to New York last weekend and I got a fucking kidney stone. So that shit you
Yeah.
say about the water out there is bullshit.
Mm.
And if it's good, then why give me
I
a kidney
did
stone?
I did just order a Brita water filter, maybe after seeing with your fucking kidney stone debacle.
Yeah, dude, that was wild. But yeah, so let's do a quick Lebanon update. So according to CNN, at least 356 people were killed and 1,200 injured by Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon today. We're recording this on Monday, September 23rd. So, obviously more shit is going to go down while we are getting this episode ready to post. But the IDF said it had struck 1,300 Hezbollah assets, claiming the targets were offensive weapons, including missiles stationed in residential homes and other buildings. This sounds familiar.
Yeah, it sounds like a familiar story. Like,
it is, at this point, it's almost insulting the way in which they're not even like updating the Hasbara. This is literally a search and replace of any Gaza Hasbara and just being like, let's replace Hamas with Hezbollah and Gaza with Lebanon. It is, it's embarrassing. And this is some video from BB today in English. So this is for us, the English speaking world. And here's his explanation.
I have a message for the people of Lebanon. Israel.
I'm sorry, no, you don't. This is a message for us. I fucking hate you so much. This motherfucker. I have a message for the people of Lebanon. Why is it in English, bitch? Why is it in English, you stupid bitch? Oh, God. All right.
War is not with you. It's with Hezbollah. For too long, Hezbollah has been using you as human shields.
oh my
It placed
God.
rockets in your living. Israel's war.
It's the same fucking. Get a new writer's room.
God,
Get a new group of guys. Be like, we need a new thing to say. And no, he's just gonna do the same shit. It's
I
embarrassing.
don't know. Rockets in your living rooms and missiles in your garages is new.
Yeah, well, right. I like this time they
this
have
is- this
they
one
have
is- this
garages.
And this one's exactly. This
Oh
one's
my
kind of fun.
I mean, at this point, they can literally bomb anywhere
Yeah.
and just make this claim. This is just what they can do. They can just make this
There was
claim.
no proof. I've never once seen them show a human shield. Like, I've never. Like, I don't even know what that means. Like it's
It
just-
doesn't mean shit. At this point, like, you should be embarrassed to say the word human shield. No one is actively using human shields. I'm sorry. This idea of human shields
Well,
in
IOF is. I've seen part of
right,
the videos
other
where they do
than
that.
the Israeli Defense Forces, other than the Israeli occupation forces, there's nobody using, like, if Israel has proven time and time again that they will kill anybody,
Yeah.
why would you continue to use human shields if it's like, oh, well, this doesn't work, this doesn't stop them?
Because, Matt, they may show that they are willing to kill anybody, but you know what they're not going to do?
What?
Kill everybody.
Oh shit,
They
That's-
could kill
that's-
everybody.
that's like the
But
ultimate.
the fact that we're still alive means
Yes.
that Israel has a humanitarian impulse.
I love the Zionist logic of, don't be mad at us. We could kill everybody, but we choose not to.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if we wanted to, we would have killed them all in one day.
Yeah, if we wanted to,
I'm
we
like,
would nuke,
you
nuke
think
the
you would
whole
get away
world.
with that? Like, what are you guys even fucking talking about? Like,
Yeah, who says that? Like, that's a normal thing to say. Like, this is the main issue with them, is they're like, no, it is
Right.
perfectly normal for a country to threaten the entire world with mass death.
I mean,
in
the thing
order-
that gets under my skin, I think the most, is that these people genuinely think that they're good people.
Yes,
Like, they
yes.
genuinely think that they're the good guys and that we're evil. for
Right.
saying stop it. Like that's the part that really kind of fucks to my head. Like, the level of delusion and
Yeah.
for them to think that, like, when it's so clearly not the case.
Yeah, you think too. I think this has a lot to do with the way we've kind of like taken the crimes of like Nazi Germany and been like, oh, this is a special category of person. A Nazi was a guy who woke up in the morning, said, how can I do evil today? And did evil and killed the Jews.
Hell no. They were doing the best thing they could think to do
Right.
for the Reich.
They
For
all
for the
thought they were
cause.
good people. And that's the thing about like genocide, and the thing about these, monsters, is when we otherize them, we turn them into like something like super villains, we make it so that we ourselves could never be that, because I am a good person. I could never do something evil, because in order to do evil, you need to be born evil. You need to be a little demon like a Nazi. And what is so clear in terms of what message we have not learned from the Holocaust is that regular people were willing and able to do the most atrocious acts and still woke up in the morning and said, I'm a good guy because I'm doing it for something
And
greater than myself.
and that sense of personal goodness was tied to notions like security,
Yes.
land and space, like breathing room,
Yes.
purity of, cleansing
Yes.
territory of
Yeah.
demographic irritants.
Yeah.
All of these are the easy warning signs of when a country or a regime is going to be capable of doing the worst things humanity's ever seen.
Yeah. We're living in an international zone of interest, basically, it feels
Exactly.
like, where like
Yes.
so many people are okay with what's going on and going about their daily lives. Like it's nothing. I mean, even more so, obviously, the people living in Israel, like
Mm-hmm.
But I got excited to see that, got a little action there in Tel Aviv today and stuff, had them scrambling.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
I mean, it's hard to not look at an Israeli being put in even just like a fraction of the position that they put their neighbors into and go like, well, there's a taste, just a little bit, and it's funny because Israelis love to be like, oh, you sit there in America with your safety and your whatever, and you don't know what it's like for us, but they can't help themselves from putting out video after video of them just sitting and drinking coffee at a cafe and watching bombs go off in someone else's neighborhood.
Yeah, look at that documentary just came out, the Holy Redemption thing, where they were showing that woman who's with the far right party, and they're literally taking a boat tour like of Gaza, watching it and talking about how they're going to split up the land, and the level of entitlement is just absolutely bonkers.
It's crazy.
And then you've got these liberal Zionist gatekeepers like Shael Ben Ephraim, who we talked about last time, who I'm going to have to do a larger series on.
Yes.
Trying to counter it and being like, no, this is not what most Israelis think. These are reprehensible, fringe, marginal monsters at the edges of our society. The settlers are such easy scapegoats.
Yes.
I'm not saying all Israelis have that level of depravity, but I do think the Nice Jewish Boys podcast kind of nailed it when they talked about the fundamental and widespread indifference to the human suffering of Palestinians on the human level.
Right.
They may think it's in bad taste. They may think it's excessive. They may think this is going to blow back
Nice
on
Jewish
us.
Boys podcast doesn't think that. They were open. They were open with their
they were open.
nature.
They were open, and I don't think even the entire society is quite as psychotic as they are necessarily, but I do think the entire society has reached a level of callous indifference, which in this Basach HaKol, as we say in Hebrew, in the grand scheme of things, leads to the same outcomes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen videos of kids. That's why they always talk about, like, oh, in Gaza, they teach the kids to hate Jews. I'm like, I've never once, but I do see plenty of video of Israeli politicians visiting classrooms. They talk about unaligned Arabs, talking about how they're Amalek and all all that business. And you guys know, as an American, I guess North American Jew, like, who went to Hebrew school, like, it's never like explicitly said to us, but you get it. You develop a view of Palestinians, of Arab people as a Jew, like, oh, they hate us because we're Jewish, like they're kind of dirty terrorists. Like it's not exactly explicitly said growing up in Hebrew school, but like there's a lot of implication. You guys.
100%. It is.
I was
it is
never
100.
taught. I was never taught to hate Arabs. I was taught to fear them and to not care about them. And you add those two things together, and you get what hate actually
It's all the ingredients of hate.
It's not about sitting around feeling something about them.
Yeah.
It's about looking at them and not seeing a human being.
Right. That's it.
And being willing to say, oh, well, no, whatever happens to them has to happen, and they probably asked for it anyway. And to me, and that's the functional definition of what people actually mean by hate, which is a kind of inhuman attitude towards other human beings that has monstrous consequences.
Yeah.
When scaled up.
Let me just play a little bit more of BB.
Oh yeah, talking. Right. He just got started.
For too long, Hezbollah has been using you as human shields.
They have?
It placed rockets in your living rooms.
It did?
And missiles in your garage.
It did?
Those rockets and missiles are aimed directly at our cities, directly at our citizens.
They are mostly aimed, from what I've seen, is they are aimed at military targets. And this is something that you see over and over again, is the amount of military targets that have been directed that have been targeted by Hezbollah. It's just like, I'm sorry, go.
To defend our people against Hezbollah strikes, we must take out those weapons. Now, starting this morning, the IDF has warned you to get out of harm's way. I urge you, take this warning seriously. Don't let Hezbollah endanger your lives and the lives of your loved ones. Don't let Hezbollah endanger Lebanon. Please, get out of harm's way now. Once our operation is finished, you can come back safely to your homes.
Once we're finished harming you, you can come back to harm's way, when we will continue to threaten to harm you. I mean, it's just so psychotic.
Completely psychotic. And also, like, how do you make a message like that? I mean, obviously, like, once again, this message is not for Hezbollah. It's not for the Lebanese. It's for us.
That's right.
But how can you be an American or any English-speaking person and look at the track record of, we're just gonna make you guys move out of harm's way for a while, and then we'll take care of the bad guys, and then you guys can come back. We've seen what happened in Gaza for the last 11 months.
Next thing they're going to say is Hezbollah needs to give themselves up.
Yes.
all 100,000 need to,
Yeah. Next, they're just gonna be like, bring them home, and they're just gonna be talking about some random. Like, at this point, they don't even have fucking like hostages to use as an excuse for what they're doing in Lebanon.
Right.
They're just gonna be like, nah, it's because we hate Hezbollah and they're bad, and that we need to do this. This is clearly them, by the way, I think, trying to get their pride back after they got their ass whooped by Hezbollah in 2000.
That's what I don't get the move, because isn't Hezbollah going to hit them back hard? And like it seems like we're entering that stage of this conflict that they have no choice but to act at this point.
I mean, I think that Israel's like entire motivation for the last 11 months has been like, we need to expand this war to be a regional conflict and not just us, displacing the Palestinians, because we need to make sure that people do not look at what we're doing in Gaza and the West Bank, and we need them to support us, because they know that America as an ally is going to come to their defense if they do get into
put boots on the ground. You think America would put boots on the ground for this?
I think America would absolutely put boots on the ground if we got into a wider conflict.
Crazy.
If we I mean, just the idea that like, we are tied to our allies in this way in which we are. I mean, being an ally of America means we offer military and monetary support and boots on the ground. So if we got into like a hot war with Iran, you don't think for a second we wouldn't put boots on the ground. I think we absolutely would, or at least people in Washington would try. Whether or not American people would actually be for that, I don't actually know, and I think that would cause a lot more problems out here than people in Washington realize.
I would need to understand the tactics of military strategy and armed resistance a lot better than I do to speak on this with any intelligence, but all I know is I don't want to see anyone killed, and I've said this on the podcast. I don't like seeing violence.
Yeah.
But when you see Israel being so belligerent and so fucking crazy and so constantly provocative and being that kid on the playground that will not stop in trying to incite.
Right, being a fucking bully.
And then, how many speeches have there been over the years by Nasrallah talking about how, tremble in your boots, Israel. We have Tel Aviv in our sights. We can hit your airport. We know where the ammonia plants are. Leak. They have this drone footage. They could. It seems to me that the time is nearing when, if something like that doesn't, like, how much more do you need in terms of provocation? And I don't know what the consequences are of not stepping up after making all these threats,
Yeah.
doesn't at some point Israel just kind of win that game of chicken? Like I find it very concerning because I keep hearing this is the thing, they've crossed the line and now Israel's going to pay the price, and they never pay the price.
Well, Jacob, loved having you on the show, man. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry once again, apologizing for last time.
Nah, it's
I'm
all
so-
good. It's all good. Thank you so much for having me on. Really appreciate it. Guys, I'm going to Egypt, like I said, in a few days. So if you go to the link in my bio on my Instagram and TikTok, I greatly appreciate any donations. It goes a long way to help out the refugees from Gaza.
Yeah.
And hopefully, inshallah, I'll be making it
Nice.
into Gaza as time goes on, as the borders start to open up and everything. And just thank you, everybody, for supporting me.
Yeah.
And free Palestine.
Thank
Free
you so
Palestine,
much.
Jacob, and Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Yeah. And we're going to put all the links in the bio of this episode so people can know where to donate.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. I appreciate
course.
that. Yeah.
Jacob, loved having you on.
Salute,
And
guys. I'll see
peace,
you when
brother.
I'm in Egypt. All right.
Peace.
All right. Peace. All right. So finally, we're going to get into the story about the Jewish Chronicle. It is for those of you who listen to this podcast, you know that we've read a few articles from the Jewish Chronicle before. They famously were the one in which they write. There was an entire article they wrote about how if you don't like Wonder Woman, you're anti-Semitic.
Well,
So
then
this
I'm
is-
still a raging anti-Semite.
Yeah, well, call me Himmler because I do not like Wonder Woman. But yeah, they are the world's oldest Jewish newspaper, which should mean something. It should mean that they're held to some sort of journalistic standard. And I'll tell you this, people sure treat it like it is held to normal journalistic standards. And there was a huge scandal that happened. Guys, there's a fake journalist out there. There's a guy out there doing fake news, if you can
Good
believe
God.
it. Yes.
Besmirching the good name of the journalistic profession.
I know, and besmirching the good name of the Jewish Chronicle, the world's oldest newspaper for Jews. I love that that's also something you would say, like, hey, it's basically like when a restaurant is like, since 1972, and it's like, well, it's an accomplishment to still be in business, but that's kind of it.
What was their first headline? 2 more tablets on their way.
Yes, it was Moses first started this. The first articles were the tablets. But yeah, so there was a huge scandal, and from 972 magazine, Ben Reef did a whole breakdown of everything that happened. But in summation,
Shout out to Nan72.
shout out
one
to
of-
972.
One of those good Israeli publications.
Yeah, they do some good work. They do some good fucking work, and they're in Israel, both Israeli Jews and Palestinians doing journalism together. And
Pop off in the comments if you
Oh.
think I should stop saying that some Israeli Jews do good work.
yeah, pop off in the comments if you have comments about us talking about
That's right.
anything.
Pop off in the comments if your mind says things while you listen to podcasts.
Yeah,
And you want everyone else to hear what your mind
you want to and you're mad that we
and
don't
you're mad about it. Yeah. That we
read
don't,
those
that we're not
comments.
and that we're not you. Although we saw the nicest comment today.
What was it?
I gotta read this. I love you guys. I grew up in New York, and you're the type of Jewish people that I met and love and always felt such a kinship with. How
Oh.
these Zionist psychopaths took over your identity without your permission and decided that a mass murder and grape, which is the online,
I got it.
were their birthright. I have no idea. Thank you for showing me that this is not in any way, shape, or form a Jewish thing. This is not a Jewish American thing. This is a Zionist cult of hate and murder and death. I stand with you as a fellow human being.
Oh,
That's nice.
I
Why
love
can't
that.
every comment be like that?
yeah. Sound off in the comments if you want to delete that previous mean thing you wrote and write that instead.
Someone else in the comments talked about how sweet I am and how I should really need to settle down and have kids and I'll be a great dad. So that's
Well, that
another.
was me, bro. I wrote that.
Yes, Matt, I will. Yes.
Come on, dude. It's time. Have some kids. You'll love it. It's great. It's not at all tiring. So back to Ben Reef. Ben Reef wrote for 972 magazine. The rundown of this is essentially the Jewish Chronicle, shortly after Benjamin Netanyahu went on, Western TVs everywhere and said in English, "Hey guys, we need to take control of the Philadelphia corridor,"
Hmm.
which was, something that we covered on this show. This is basically the where the IDF would stand guard at the porous, quote unquote, border between Gaza and Egypt. And his entire claim was based on the fact that they might smuggle the hostages out and might smuggle themselves out. Well, shortly after he gave that press conference, there was an article in the Jewish Chronicle uh, basically backing up his claim with exclusive sources from Israeli intelligence saying that Sinwar himself was going to smuggle himself out of Gaza and to, first Egypt and then to Yemen and then to Iran. And, a lot of people in Israel and in the rest of the regular world were like, wow, that seems pretty convenient that the moment after Netanyahu makes this insane claim, uh, that now there are, intelligence sources, anonymous intelligence sources
What
saying
does the
that is
Jewish
what the
Chronicle
plan
think?
was.
Who does the Jewish Chronicle think they are? The New York Times?
I know. What do they think? They can just make stuff up and we're not going to notice? No, you have to be the New York Times to do that.
To cite unnamed intelligence sources that
That's
back up
right.
exactly whatever the government just said or
Whatever the
just wants you to
government
say.
says.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it wasn't just, 972 magazine, but also journalists from Ynet and journalists from Israel's Channel 12 were refuting these claims and doing some deep dives into it, and found that this was completely baseless. And then a deep dive into the guy
I thought you
himself.
were going to say they found that it was completely based.
It was completely based. They were like, "Oh yeah, that's what's up." No, they found that it was completely like based on nothing. People were asking their own military intelligence sources, like, "Is this real?" And
They were going up to
everyone,
it like Rod and Todd Flanders. Are your sources on this reliable?
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're literally, the Rod and Todd Flanders of Israel, journalists at Ynet and Channel 12, asking, and they found out no. In fact, even Hagari, the spokesperson for the IDF, who you've seen, the one who was very sorry,
Very sorry.
yeah, he himself was saying that it is 100% lies. So this was raising red flags. People started looking into it. They found the journalist Elon Perry, was completely not just making this up, but making up his entire bio. This is a guy who claimed not only to have these intelligence resources, telling him that this is real, that Sinwar is going to leave, but this guy's been made up his entire career. He has claimed to be a commando soldier with the Golani Brigade. He served, for which he served 28 years. He claimed he was a journalist for 25 years, covering wars and terrorist attacks. He claims to have been, lecturing about Middle East terrorism.
He claimed to have been the chief rabbi of Haifa for 150 years.
Yes.
This guy has amassed a resume that's about 800 years long.
Yeah, this is the modern day Methuselah of Israel. As soon as he dies, it all goes. But yeah, this dude also, he claimed that he participated in Entebbe, which was the raid on the hijacked plane in the
He
70s.
was Charles Bronson's stunt double.
Yes, he was Charles Bronson's stunt double. This guy claims he fucked J-Lo. He claims that he was a Tel Aviv University professor. None of this is true. Upon looking at all of his claims, people saw that he had just made it all up. And
His
this
real name is Scott Templeton.
His name is Scott Templeton. He has been pretending to talk to a serial killer in Baltimore for years. This is a Wire reference for those of you who don't understand what we're doing.
He's really getting at the Dickensian aspect of the
that's right.
of the Israelis displaced from their homes in the north.
That's right. The cobblestone streets and whatnot. But yeah, he completely made this up. And this is something that people at the Jewish Chronicle this was the last straw for a lot of them. A lot of them started leaving. So there was many who have left.
Would you say there was an exodus?
There was an exodus of sort from the Jewish. Yeah, that's God gave this land to me.
Yeah.
It's a great song. But
theme song from Exodus.
But yeah, so a lot of former Jewish Chronicle writers also wanted to defend themselves. They were like, hey, listen, even though they allowed a guy to just make shit up and, you know, create 9 different articles from recent months in which he just made stuff up. They said, despite this, hey, some of us who come from the Jewish Chronicle are good. And this was pointed out by a former Jewish Chronicle writer named John Glancy, who wrote, thanks. I would add that by saying it specializes in gutter journalism and nothing else, you insult everyone who has written for the paper. I wrote some lovely essays on bagels, for example. And then the account Judas, I don't know if you guys follow this account. It's a great account, at JEWAS. They pointed out this article that he had written called what looks like apartheid keeps Israel secure. This is by the guy who claimed to just write about bagels. And fellas, I implore you to read this article. And I'm going to read some of it right now.
Please do.
Because listen, there's all sorts of like random Hasbara out there, but I love nothing more than a like defense of apartheid, but in the most whiny way possible. So let me read a little bit of this for you guys. What looks like apartheid keeps Israel secure. Comparisons with the old South Africa ignore attempts to totally destroy the Jewish state.
I love that. Sorry, I just need to take note of the little automatic advertisement at the bottom. Once again,
88.
hypersexuality is not infidelity; it's an ADHD response.
That's
I'm taking notes, and
we
will be reporting it to our significant others later tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So this is an article from June 17th, 2021. So just in case you were wondering if the war started, you know, after October 7th. Now, people have been out here in these streets defending apartheid for a while, even, you know, further back than 2021, but still. To apartheid or not to apartheid? That's been the question in Middle Eastern discourse over the past few weeks. Everywhere you look, ever since the recent war in Gaza, the quote, A word is being deployed to describe the Israel-Palestine. Whether it is nobler,
etc. Whether it is nobler in the mind to erect a security wall and a separate set of laws for one set of non-citizens, or by opposing to annihilate them.
Oh God, yes.
But what's hilarious is about this phrasing. Like, this is just like a classic thing of bad writers. They'll just take some well-known Shakespeare quote and they'll mangle it. But what he doesn't realize is that the way he phrases it, to apartheid or not to apartheid, to turn it into an active transitive verb.
Right. Yeah.
He's basically saying, should we or shouldn't we?
Yeah. Should we or shouldn't we apartheid? Oh, God. I love it. Israel can be classified as a, quote, apartheid-like state, was the recent view of Cyril Ramaphosa, president of South Africa.
Okay, so that's not an English sentence. You'd say that Israel can be classified as an apartheid-like state was the recent view.
Right. Yeah. It's also a quote. It's a terrible sentence, but hey, what do you expect from the Jewish Chronicle? Israel is an, quote, apartheid state was the opinion of AOC, the leading Democratic progressive in Congress. Then there was Human Rights Watch, which in April published a paper detailing all the ways in which Israel is indeed an apartheid state. All the usual suspects, I imagine some readers are thinking. Well, I love the all the usual suspects line because it's like that usual suspects like list has got to be fucking immense.
Yeah.
Human Rights Watch, AOC, the president of South Africa,
Desmond Tutu.
Yeah, like
Your
this,
mom.
This is insane. A collection of posturing leftist voices that refuse to acknowledge the realities of what Israel faces, preferring to gain progressive plaudits for inveighing against the Jewish state. Well, perhaps. But let's take this allegation seriously for a moment. You should have been taking it seriously from jump. The idea that, like, wait, can we stop not taking this apartheid allegation seriously? Because what has shocked me in recent weeks has not been the allegation of apartheid from familiar quarters, but the private anxiety I've heard from liberal Jewish friends on the subject. Can we still really reject this label, they fret? Ignore the Arab-Jewish situation in Israel itself for a moment, which is contested and fractious and far from ideal, but not in any meaningful way apartheid. Look at the West Bank instead, where some 3 million Palestinians currently live. They don't have sovereignty or a state. Israel controls their borders.
But that's the entire claim, that the apartheid refers to the entire regime in total. No one's saying just look at Israel itself within the 48 borders and call that apart. The point is,
everyone's looking at the occupied territories.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. There's absolutely people who will claim that within 48, there's also apartheid. But like, you're bringing that up just to say, like, oh, we all know that some things aren't apartheid. That's
right.
It's just trying to bring people back from that in case they were thinking. But look at the West Bank. It said they don't have sovereignty or state. Israel controls their border, has military power over their land. Against their will, the Jewish settler population in their territory has more than doubled in the past 30 years. Checkpoints and economic constraints dominate their lives. In the Netanyahu era, this situation drifted and drifted. The peace process is defunct, and there is no visible attempt from Israel to resolve this question. Quite the opposite, in fact, one might argue.
All right,
okay,
this guy's totally based.
Totally based. That is, he's right in those sentences about what's going on in the West Bank and what's going on in Gaza. Why then is this not apartheid? Human Rights Watch defines apartheid as, quote, a crime committed when officials systematically oppress one group in their territory under their control and subject it to inhuman acts with the intent to maintain domination over that group for the benefit of another group. The key plank in the Human Rights Watch argument on apartheid revolves around intent. 15 years ago, when Ehud Olmert's Israel was offering Palestinians the basis for a state, it was difficult to argue that Israel intended to permanently rule over occupied territories. Now, after the Bibi era, it is difficult to argue that it doesn't. What's the plan here? When does this end? It's a valid concern, and yet the apartheid label has always obscured more than it reveals.
So far, this article obscures more than it reveals. What's your fucking point, dude?
Yeah, there's nothing I love more than a liberal Zionist who will just, like, point by point be like, you're right about it being apartheid. You're right about it being genocide. You're right that they don't care about Palestinians. You're right that they're trying to murder anyone. There's no consequences. You're right that the Israeli government literally puts them in a concentration camp.
Isn't it interesting then that in fact I'm right?
Yeah. But have you ever considered a point of view in which that's okay?
Yeah.
So to continue, just blah, blahing through this. Let's see. Does the claim itself have any merit? The key problem with the use of apartheid, in my view, is that it rides roughshod over the demands of Israeli security. It ignores the fact that from the moment the state of Israel was established to today, Palestinian political movements and their allies have actively sought to destroy it.
This is a very, very good point, because, in genuine apartheid systems, you're going to see written in the laws and hear in the public statements of the apartheid doers no mention at all of security concerns.
None.
It's all going to be about
fun.
We don't like the Blacks.
Yeah, it'll just
we're
be
better.
Yeah,
put them over there. We're over here. They don't pose any threat to us. We just don't like them. It's just
like, I can't do the accent,
don't
but
like them. The Black.
Yeah, yes. I don't know. I can only do New Zealand. So I'm sorry to our Kiwi listeners, but we don't like
White people should not live in the Southern Hemisphere. You all start to sound really strange.
You sound weird.
You
man.
sound weird. But so yeah, this is what he's saying, that
Yeah,
like
it's like, but have you guys ever considered the security of the apartheid doer? Yes, that's literally the point. It's every apartheid like government has always been like, but this is for our security. Literally, apartheid South Africa, that was the entire thing. It was the security of the white Afrikaner over literally everyone else.
and the invasion of Poland and Czechoslovakia were about
Nazi
German
security.
freedom to breathe.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I love the idea that maybe that, South Africa they were doing apartheid because just they have OCD and they like to keep things separate, like blacks over here, whites over here.
Well, in which case they were just
Turn the light on.
in which case they were just neurodivergent, and we'd be being
yes, we're being ableist by making fun of apartheid.
Yeah, that's right.
Some people need apartheid in order to not have their OCD triggered. Merely
Obsessive compulsive discrimination.
Oh, yes. Merely using the phrase Israeli security will get you laughed at in many liberal circles. You don't say. It's a front, an excuse, a smokescreen placed in front of the domineering and greedy imperial project. But Israeli security is no joke. All right, guys?
It ain't no joke.
I love the
other countries' security is a big hilarious joke.
Other countries' security is not my business, but the Israeli security, don't you dare laugh at that.
We're so sincere.
Yeah, you guys are laughing at us because we're just describing what apartheid is. And let me tell you, you won't be laughing when we suffer the consequences of that apartheid. How about that?
Yeah, so Israeli security is no joke. It's a necessity. This is a state that was established in the aftermath of the Holocaust that has faced multiple multinational attempts to wipe it off the map. In other words, unlike other countries, Israel has to do whatever it wants to do.
Exactly.
We can't just not do whatever. Other countries have the luxury of being able to be constrained from doing the ultimate thing that they want to do. But when we have an idea of what we want to do, we don't have time to think about where it's coming from because people are trying to wipe us off the map. So we need the license and the right to just do it.
I mean, literally the entire Israeli point of view on this subject has been all the other countries in the West have the privilege of having already done the genocides that they needed to do.
Right.
You have
that's exactly right.
Genocider privilege. We, on the other hand, as a new, scrappy, up-and-coming nation that has been around for 3,000 years, we need to do it. We need to do it because you guys did it.
We didn't finish our extermination, okay? Again, you're being ableist. We have a certain pace.
Yeah.
We didn't get it all done.
Yes. All right. Sorry.
And this gets
we
even
need
better.
Extra time on the tests. Okay.
That's right.
Our libido has nothing to do with being bad. It's that we have ADHD. It's the ad for ADHD medication we just read.
Right. Hyper-genocidality is not a moral failing.
No, it's not.
An ADHD
it's a symptom of ADHD, and we all know it.
And of course, security can be used as an excuse for depredation, and on many occasions it has been. But anyone who truly believes that security has nothing to do with Israel's occupation...
No one thinks that! I'm sorry, but no one, we absolutely, I believe that your apartheid state is for the purpose of securing Jewish lives in Israel. 100%. No one is disputing that you feel insecure. It's that your insecurity manifests in a way that is doing war crimes.
Anyone who truly believes that the slave catchers and dogs unleashed in the South had nothing to do with the security of the plantations and the plantation economy simply doesn't care enough about white money.
100%. It is just I love the straw man created of person sitting around going apartheid is just for fun. You guys are doing it because you're racist and it's fun. No, we know that you think it's secure. We get that.
Yeah, what people
100%.
don't, what this guy can't get is that there's a worldview in which security is never the last word.
Yes.
That
And-
some things, that security is subordinate to some very important
like
principles
human rights
and values, like human rights.
Yes. And like to try to to justify, as Israelis constantly do, doing war crimes and doing ethnic cleansing and genocide against the people as like purely a measure to secure your own people. Like, I'm sorry, but no one is looking at that and going like, oh, okay, you go ahead then. Unless you are already Zionist, unless you are already convinced at the necessity of an apartheid state that that's like secures Jewish existence. If you believe that that's a thing, then yeah, you're going to be like, yeah, genocide whoever the fuck you need in order to secure Jewish existence. But you're a psychopath if you expect people to just automatically go like, oh yeah, I have a lot of morals that but the morals don't count when it's in a defensive strategy. Like
all these people out here calling us an apartheid state have clearly never had an apartheid state to try and protect.
That's
okay?
right. Yes,
If
you don't know what it's like.
You don't know what it takes to maintain an apartheid regime. Sometimes it takes some apartheid.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but
Some of us have
rules.
some of us have responsibilities.
Yeah, some of us have kids to raise, and we can't be spending all our time, defending our apartheid state. We got to just do apartheid so we don't have to defend our apartheid state. It is like such a horrible position that Israelis and the Israeli government have put themselves in to continually justify these war crimes, even to the point of admitting they're doing war crimes, where they're like, we have to.
Yeah,
like
it's a Mobius strip of depravity. Like
yes, it is.
It's just this infinity strip.
Yes.
Of endless justification for the thing that you're saying is justified because it has to continue, and we need to do whatever we need to do to keep it going. So what you're telling me, Matt, is that this is the caliber of journalism that is now in danger because the Jewish Chronicle has fallen from its exalted place of 100%. Respect.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's true. But
R.I.P.
like, it seems like they don't have long. And by which I mean they'll still be around, and I'm sure they'll be fine somehow, because they'll have donors who will be like, no, we still need people out there writing articles like, isn't it woke to kill the bad guys? But yeah, I love the ending of this article. He wrote, the word intent still lingers. As cynical and weary as Israel has become on this issue, it must not let go of its intention to find a solution.
Intentions are good.
Yes, it must keep trying for a settlement. It mustn't lose hope, or else the apartheid argument will only gain power over time.
Yeah.
Which is an argument for like, guys, what happened to pretending we wanted a peace process?
Yeah, and it's also an argument for like, I can't keep this going for much longer, guys. Like,
yeah,
this article is my last gasp.
Yeah,
I'm hanging on by my fingernails here.
At some point, I'm going to want a job talking about something else. All right.
Yeah, I would really like to be a bagel blogger.
I want to be a bagel connoisseur and write about that. But you guys are out here trying to make me write articles about how apartheid good sometimes. I can't just keep doing that. So yeah, Jewish Chronicle, RIP. I'm sure that everything will be fine with you. And shout out to Elon Perry for going there and just being like, hey, what are we doing even trying to do real journalism? Let's make some shit up. And I think that's an episode. That's Bad Hasbara.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, dog. Thank you
yeah.
so much for listening. Once again, follow Jacob Berger wherever he's at. He's on Twitter. He's on Instagram. Make sure that you donate to help him out in his, what I think is a noble and honorable journey. Patreon.com/badhasbara. badhasbara@gmail.com.
PalestineRCF.org?
.org, that's right. /EN.
Yeah.
It's the Palestine Red Crescent. Please donate to that. And all right. Thank you so much for listening. And from the river to the sea.
Have you considered it might be about security?
I was also going to say Jacob Berger is still friends with me.
Oh,
Good. I'm glad.
that's good. Friends.
Jumping jacks was us, push-ups was us, Krav Maga us, all karate us,